Welcome to Polk Place. My name is Jane Waters Thomas, and we're going to be talking about a very exciting event that's going to be taking place really county-wide, but really in Winter Haven. They have put a lot of effort into this, and it's called 1 Billion Rising, and it is truly an event that is designed to shake the earth through dance. So I'd like to introduce our guest, and with me today is event coordinator Chuck Warrant. Welcome.
Thank you, Jane.
And from Polk State College, Dr. Sharon Miller.
Thank you.
And Winter Haven's own, he does everything in the world, and we just love him, Nat West. So this event is a really exciting event, and Chuck, I'd like to start with you if that's okay, and maybe you can give us a little bit of the history of the event and what prompted you to go, we need to be doing this in Winter Haven and make this a big deal.
Well, back in February, a couple of ladies in our saging program said they wanted to go to a mob, flash mob, and support the 1 Billion Rising movement, but they had to go to Orlando to do that. And I had no idea what they were talking about. So I looked at the global website, 1billionrising.org, and the website itself just pulled me in. It's a very energetic website. It has a lot of inspiring stories about women who are very courageously going about changing their communities to make their communities safer for women and girls. Mm-hmm. And it also has some disturbing statistics.
Yes,
like, for example, 1 in 3 women will face some sort of violence in their lifetime. Mm-hmm. And every year there are 3 million young girls around the age of 8 who will experience genital cutting. And, but it's not just around the world, it's here as well. For example, in Florida. Florida is the state with the 3rd largest human trafficking problem. So we're trying to, well, when you think about it, we have half of our population that is at risk for facing violence sometime in their life. And this is just not acceptable.
No, it isn't.
And we felt like we shouldn't have to go to Orlando to make a difference, to support 1 Billion Rising. So we wanted to bring it here to Winter Haven, to Polk County.
Wonderful. You know, I was kind of brought into the loop of 1 Billion Rising not too long ago, and it was a lot of fun. I was driving down Highway 17 in Winter Haven, and I passed a flash mob. Tell us a little bit about what the flash mob is, Dr. Miller.
The flash mob is really given credit by social media. So you get a call out for a specific event or activity, and the community responds. I think we are known here for showing up to help local businesses. I think using the flash mob to help raise the awareness of violence against the women is quite exciting. Quite exciting.
It is, and I'll tell you, it was a lot of fun to see those, and it was every age that was in that flash mob too. And I knew that it was 1 Billion Rising because the colors were red and pink, and they had a big banner out that they had handwritten 1 Billion Rising, and they were dancing. It was out in front of Manny's Chop House, I think, and boy, they were stopping traffic. It was awesome. You could hear horns beeping, and I agree, that kind of awareness does have to take place for something as serious as violent crimes against women, children, really anyone.
Yes.
But I do love that this campaign is geared to really call that awareness. Chuck, we had talked earlier that this event's really only been going on for a couple of years. Can you talk a little bit about how it got started?
Well, Eve Ensler, who is a famous writer, she wrote the Vagina Monologues, and she's been doing for a number of years something called V-Day, which takes place on Valentine's Day, and it was mainly a program that took place on college campuses. And the last 2 or 3 years, they've expanded that. Eve Ensler's been traveling around the world, supporting women who are trying to change their cultures or change laws that support violence towards women, trying to change them so that they'll protect women. And so this year, or last couple of years, they've made it into a global effort. And so this year, over 200 countries took part in this. And you can go on their website or even on YouTube and see a number of what different countries did. It's just very exciting to see their flash mobs and their different ways that they've tried to bring to the forefront this problem.
Right, right. Well, Flash Mob definitely does it. I remember the first time that I saw a Flash Mob, it was actually on the Oprah Winfrey Show. And she was in downtown New York, I believe, and thousands of people did the same dance. You want to talk about impact? Man, you could feel the energy from there to here in that. And it doesn't matter, 5, 10, 35, 105 people in a flash mob, and it's an energy that you cannot slow down. It is so exciting. So when I heard about the flash mob component, and there's many components, am I right? There's many things happening throughout the week that goes on in this. I got really excited about that one. Nat, tell us a little bit about some of the other things that will be going on during this week of celebration and awareness.
And I think the flash mob really brings, excitement to the event, but clearly there are some other things that are terribly important with this initiative. We've spoken with the police chief in Winter Haven, Gary Hester, and said, we want police officers to talk about this situation and what can women do. And I know, for example, you're going to be making a presentation on self-defense and a variety of different things. So clearly, we want it to be fun, we want people to have a good time, but we also want people to understand that this is a serious matter and that we have programs that will help women in dealing with these kinds of issues.
Absolutely, and mentioning that I teach self-defense, I was going to steer completely away from that today a little bit, but since you have mentioned it, I deal with women every single day through boxing fitness and those kinds of programs where what they need is the education component. They're not showing up for a flash mob, but they're going to show up for an exit plan. And they're going to show up to hear about other women who figured out how to get out of their situations or how to better their situations. So I am very excited about that education component. There's going to be some very interesting things going on. And when you bring in law enforcement and law enforcement starts to explain how to get out, when you bring in things like Peace River and they will be involved with what we do, or the Women's Resource Center, or every level of how to make this better matters substantially, and I would have to think and ask for your comments to this. Is that not the most important component of doing 1 Billion Rising, is the education component?
I would say yes, but there's one component that I am particularly excited about. You have men who have joined this effort. Chuck himself has taken this on to spearhead it. So how more important can that be, that we have representation from across the community? It's not just women sitting here talking, but men who've taken this interest on. So the education part, they've gotten it. The men have gotten it.
Right.
How now do we penetrate the community with this awareness so that we can affect change?
So as we move forward into the planning of this, because this actually takes place from February 10th through February 14th, ending of course on V-Day, on Valentine's Day. And there's a lot of things that are going on. It's not one day. This is a week long. We've talked about the flash, we've talked about education, but one thing we haven't talked about is the poetry competition. Chuck, tell us a little bit about the poetry competition and what your committee envisions for that particular competition in our county.
Okay, let me first talk a little bit about art.
Okay.
Because this whole thing with dance, and we also have art and music involved in it, and these are ways to express yourself and that we feel like are very important also. And we're lucky to have a wonderful art professor from Polk State College, Holly Sailors-Scoggins, who is heading up an effort to have a national art gallery, art show at Polk State College beginning February 3rd through February 20th. So that we'll have art on display that will reflect this theme of violence towards women and courageous women who are making a difference. Now we also want to allow women and men or anyone to express themselves in writing, and this can be a very powerful way also to to express your feelings, but also let people know that they aren't alone in this, and helps people to understand that that other people have been through these same issues and have made it through and survived. So we're asking people who would like to submit either poetry or a personal memoir or a short story. And we'll be giving out some ribbons to, which we consider would be the top 3 of the submissions in those different areas. And the submission guidelines are on our website. Our website is 1billionrisingwinterhaven.blogspot.com.
Okay.
And you can go to the submissions page there, and it'll tell you what those submissions are. And let me just say too that you mentioned earlier that this is not going to be taking place till February, so we're still in the planning stages in some respect. We've got some things nailed down, but there may be some changes, so people really need to keep checking our website for the latest information. But we do hope that people will send us their writings, and if we get enough, we might publish a book with the writings in them that people could purchase online, and
Very exciting.
the proceeds from that would go possibly to the Women's Resource Center in Winter Haven.
Right. Now, I know that the event takes place in February, but the importance of allowing our community to know about this event a little bit ahead of time is in deadlines, because there are some very real deadlines that we have for this event. And I believe November 15th is the deadline for poetry. Is that correct?
For the poetry and the personal memoir and the short stories, yes.
Okay, very good. And that just gives the committee a bit of time, I would think. Is that right, to review and figure out what they want to do and who's awarded and that kind of thing.
Right.
But definitely check the website. Now, do you have anything that you would like to add about the importance of the event and encourage people to come out and really pay attention?
Well, as my job, I was kind of a hospital administrator, and I was over the mental health division. It's called the Center for Behavioral Health in Winter Haven Hospital. So that experience with inpatient psychiatric patients as well as outpatient really gave me a totally new awareness of the problem, frankly. And so enabled me to say, I just have to get involved. When we're talking about Flashdance, a kind of a different subject, that takes a lot of effort too, as you know, in terms of planning. And we don't want to tip our hand here, but we're going to have a couple of different flash dances going around. And so, be on the lookout for a lot of great people that want to get involved. And to the general public, if they want to get involved, they can certainly contact Polk State College, because I think they're taking the lead on the flash dance effort, which will be not only a lot of fun, but very meaningful.
Yes. Outstanding. Dr. Miller, anything that you'd like to add to the importance of the event?
I just want to encourage the community to come out. Our students and our faculty, as Chuck indicated, are very much involved in this event, and we'll do whatever we can to raise the awareness of this issue in the community.
Wonderful, wonderful.
Yes.
And Chuck, as the event coordinator of such an important awareness cause, is there anything that you would like to add from just a personal perspective about the importance of this event?
Well, for one thing, to pick up on something Dr. Miller said, this is not just a women's issue.
Right.
It's definitely a men's issue as well. Unfortunately, men perpetrate most of the violence on women. And so men need to learn to speak up and not through jokes or through other conversation in some way support violence towards women. And also it's our mothers, our sisters, our daughters, our wives that are being harmed. So we need to definitely be strong in speaking out.
I think we need flash mobs of just men.
Yes, that's cool.
Well, I want to thank each of you for coming out today to talk about the importance of violent crimes against women and girls. It is a big deal. It really is. That it's being able to be brought to our community in dance and through the arts, that's just beautiful. And that's perfect. So we are looking at an event that will take place from February 10th through February 14th, with various activities taking place in the Winter Haven community and really countywide, from what I've began to hear through conversations at Peace River and some of the other organizations that also address some of these issues. But if you have questions regarding how to get involved with 1 Billion Rising Winter Haven, do check the website. Also check 1billionrising.org if you'd like more information about the global awareness and the global campaign that is taking place at the very same time. This is a really big event, and we are one community participating in a global effort, and that's a good day. For more information on the Winter Haven event and how to become more involved in 1 Billion Rising Global at a community level, visit www.1billionrisingwinterhaven.blogspot.com. To submit your writings or your poetry to the competition before November 15th, please send that to winterhavenrising@yahoo.com.